Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the essential gear every paraglider pilot absolutely has to know to fly safe and with confidence. So let's just get right into it. You know, this quote, it really gets to the heart of everything. Knowing your gear isn't just about passing some test. It's about survival, and it's about clear communication when you're up there. Just imagine your instructor is on the radio yelling, "Check your left A-riser." If you don't instantly know what that is, you're losing precious seconds. So let's learn the language. All right, let's start at the very top with the most iconic part of the whole system, the wing. Now, you might hear people call it the canopy, and it's really where all the magic of flight begins. So the very first thing you've got to understand is that a paraglider isn't a parachute. It's not just designed to slow you down. It's a high-performance pressure wing. What does that mean? It means it uses the air it's flying through to inflate itself and create a very specific aerodynamic shape that gives you lift and glide. Think of these cell openings along the leading edge as the mouths of the wing. As you run forward on launch, these openings scoop up air, pressurizing the whole canopy and literally bringing it to life. It transforms from just a piece of fabric into a solid, flyable wing. So if the leading edge is where the wing breathes in, the trailing edge is where you give it commands. This is where your brake lines are attached. This allows you to pull down one side to make a turn, or pull down both sides to slow down and flare for that perfect landing. Okay, now what's really cool about this slide is how the inside of the wing actually works. See, the wing is divided into these chambers called cells by fabric walls, which we call ribs. But here's the clever part. Those ribs have holes in them, crossports that let air travel from one cell to the next. This keeps the entire wing evenly pressurized, even if some of the openings aren't getting direct airflow. It's just a brilliant, simple design for stability. Next up, let's talk about the lines. You can think of them as the brain and nervous system of your paraglider. They're what connect you, the pilot, to the wing, translating all your inputs and maintaining that crucial wing shape. This really breaks down the two main line groups you're going to be dealing with the most. Just think A for ascent. The A lines are attached to the front, and they're what you pull on to inflate the wing and bring it up over your head for launch. Then you've got the brake lines attached to the back, and those are for all your control once you're in the air. Now, all those long, thin lines, and we're talking hundreds of feet of them, would be a total nightmare to manage, right? Well, that's where the risers come in. They're like the organizing hub. They group all those lines into a few manageable, usually color-coded straps that connect straight to your harness. This is basically your accelerator pedal. When you need to push into a headwind or you just want to cover some ground a little faster, you push this speed bar with your feet. What it does is pull down on the A-risers, which lowers the front edge of the wing, reduces drag, and boom, you're flying faster. It's an absolutely essential tool. All right, let's talk about your command center, the harness. You know, so many people just think of it as a seat, but it is so much more than that. It's your cockpit, it's your protection, and it's your main way of feeling what the air is doing around you. Okay, please pay close attention here. This is huge. Forgetting to buckle your leg and chest straps is one of the most dangerous and 100% preventable mistakes a pilot can make. If you launch without them fastened, you can literally slide right out of the harness. It has to be a critical part of every single pre-flight check, no exceptions. Your harness is also your main piece of safety gear after your reserve parachute. It's designed to protect your spine if you have a hard landing, and it basically does this in one of two ways, either with a pre-shaped foam insert or with an airbag that inflates from the airflow as soon as you start flying. And finally, let's cover the two pieces of gear you hope you never, ever have to use, but that you must always trust with your life: your backup parachute and, of course, your brain bucket. In a really serious emergency where your main wing just becomes unflyable, this simple drilled procedure is your absolute lifeline. You need to build that muscle memory to find the handle, pull it, and throw that reserve without even thinking about it. Look, pull, throw. That's your plan B. Look, your motorcycle helmet or your ski helmet, it's just not going to cut it here. Flight-specific helmets are certified to protect you from the kind of impacts you might have in flying sports. But just as important, you're designed with a really wide field of vision. They're cut higher in the back so you can look straight up at your wing without your helmet smacking into your shoulders. So, how do you make sure you remember all of this stuff? Well, this right here. This is the key, the pre-flight touch drill. It brings all this knowledge together. You physically walk around your gear, you put your hands on each part, the maillons, the carabiners, the reserve handle, and you say its name and what it does out loud.
It builds that critical muscle memory and helps you catch problems before you ever leave the ground.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Knowing the names is just step one. The real goal is to turn that knowledge into a physical, ingrained habit. Because true mastery isn't just in your head, it's in your hands, it's in the feel of the gear, and it's in the rhythm of your pre-flight check. That's what keeps you safe, and that's what lets you really, truly enjoy the sky.